in this last section, I'm really going to teach you the 4 places that if you are having a performance problem, I'm going to teach you the 4 places. And there's only 4 places where they can stem from, okay? So that actually should be encouraging. So when something's going wrong, if you know you can only look in 4 places, that's better than thinking there's 50,000 places to look. So I'm going to share my screen one more time. And if you can bring out that other sheet, if you hopefully were able to, let's see, share. Okay. Everybody can see okay? The screen, or the paper? Can I get a thumbs up? Thank you, Mackenzie. There are only 4 places where you can experience a performance problem. It's either going to be in your believing. So you have this sheet. I'm going to scoot over. So it's either going to be in your believing, which relates to your thought life, your emotions or your breathing, bodily sensations or your body, or your actual performance, which is your battling, okay? So there's a reason that I have ing on 3 of these, because our believing, our breathing, and our battling, they are an ongoing, ever-present process. Because I can believe in myself one moment, and then the next moment, I can fall apart. Anyone ever have that happen? Bucket full of confidence, something goes wrong, and then all of a sudden, I have no confidence, right? So that is believing. It's an ongoing process. Then we have breathing. That's the bridge to our emotional state. Then we have our body, our physical body. That can be a place where an issue develops, or battling, our actual performance, okay? So, and you see in this here, we have this is what I call the sports context, okay? So number 1, what's at stake? Think about a time when you were not at your best. What was at stake? Typically, those are high pressure situations. Maybe there's a lot on the line. All right. The NCAA tournament is going on right now. Those are high stake environments, right? So might that impact how you think, how you feel emotionally, how you feel physically, and how you perform, being at what's at stake. So, and then where am I playing? Maybe it's a place you've played well. Maybe it's a hostile environment where you have struggled in the past. Okay. And then when? Is it the beginning of the year? Is it the end of the year where there's more at stake? Is it the beginning of a game, or is it the end of the game? So think about the sports context of what's happening in the moment that's causing me to either feel or think certain things. And then another one is who? Who's there, right? When you're playing with your buddies, it's like there's no fear, there's no anxiety, there's no worry, there's no pressure, there's no expectations. But then all of a sudden you're in a game and you see someone standing around with an Oregon hat on, or Oregon State, or Texas, like, oh, there's a college coach here, there's a scout. Who is there? Who is watching you has a lot to do with how you play or perform and the pressure you may put on yourself. It could be a boyfriend, a girlfriend. It could be a relative that's in town who never gets to see you play, so you want to play really well, so you put that pressure on yourself. So you see how the sports context heavily influences the way you believe or think, how you breathe or your emotional state, how your body feels, and how you battle, how you perform. Make sense? Can I get a thumbs up? Okay, awesome. So I'm going to move over here. You have the same thing, but when we go through these, I want you to write down some thoughts, emotions, bodily sensations, and performance. So I'm going to call on somebody real quick. Hey, Ben Sunahara, when you are at your, so we'll go over worst, or you're not playing well, okay? What is a thought that you tend to think? Or what are you telling yourself?
Usually it's like I'm not good enough.
Thank you. But I'm not done with you, Ben. When you say and believe that you're not good enough, how does that cause you to feel emotionally?
It kind of gets me down. Like I'm like angry, pissed off, kind of sad at the same time.
So there's a lot going on, right?
Yeah.
You said sad, depending what happens. Then how is that causing your body to feel?
Jittery, like nervous, anxious, kind of like not settled in.
I hear that a lot from my catchers. I don't think you're a catcher, but I'll hear that a lot from my catchers. They don't feel stable or settled. Okay? And when you're jittery, you're anxious, you're not settled. When you're down, when you're angry, pissed off, you're sad, when you're saying you're not good enough, how does that cause you to perform or battle?
I feel like I can't give like 100% of my effort
Why not?
because just all the other effects just make me believe that I can't give that effort, and it turns out that with those negative thoughts that I just can't.
Okay. Did you remember? Do you remember where on that? Gosh, I can bring it up real quick. Look at that. I'll just scroll right over. Where is it? Right here. Whoa. Ha! We didn't plan that. Mackenzie, I don't know if you're laughing at this or something else, but I see you laughing. Okay, but that's what happens. Okay? Do you want to look at the reverse of this? Do you see how this could be a negative cycle right here? I'm not good enough leads to this feeling, leads to that, the way my body feels, and all of a sudden that's just how I'm performing, which is way less than my potential. And then if I keep this happening without having awareness, guess what? This just gets worse and worse to where I am playing a shell of myself, a shell of my abilities, a shell of all the hitting lessons, the pitching lessons, all that, because my mind doesn't know this yet. Okay? But I'm going to give you a secret that's out in plain sight. I can be 0 for 4. Or I can just have given up 3 back-to-back home runs. Or I can have hit into the net 50 times in a row. And I can say, you know what? At any moment, because believing confidence is a choice. At any moment, you can choose to say, you know what? Despite what has happened, I'm still the best in the world. Okay? Mackenzie, I'm putting you on the spot, girl. Unmute.
Yeah.
All right. When you believe you're the best in the world, and it doesn't even have to say that, you don't have to say that, but when you are at your best, what is something that you're saying to yourself when you're at your best?
I mean, I'm just saying that, like, I am good enough. Like, I can do this.
And then how does that cause you to feel when you are saying those things? Not only saying them, but believing them. That's why I use the word believing. I don't mince words. I use believing because thinking happens here, believing happens in the heart, to the point that you have an eagle in your chest wanting to burst out that says, get me up to the plate or get me on the mound or whatever, because guess what? I'm the best in the world. So Mackenzie, when you have that type, what are the feelings that you're feeling?
I just feel like very confident in what I'm doing and my performance.
What else?
And then I just feel like happy because I'm doing things right.
What else?
Um,
I'm causing you to lift mental muscles right now. This is mental training. I need you to expand your vocabulary. I love it. Confident, happy. What else?
I feel like very calm because I'm
Oh,
not anxious about things happening.
absolutely. Okay. I like this one right here. Not invisible, but invincible. Like, I can do anything in the world right now. The game is so slow to me right now, and I can do whatever I want. You ever feel that way?
Yeah.
Okay. And when you are feeling those ways emotionally, what is your body doing? How's your body responding?
I mean, my like shoulders are up, like everything is just very relaxed
Mm.
because I know I'm performing well.
Okay. What else? Anything else?
My breathing's just like very calm, like I'm taking deep breaths or I'm just not over compensating everything.
How about this one? I know it took a couple of you were dealing with this one. You're thinking about what you need to do rather than all the things that could go wrong. You're not overthinking. Here's the thing, when your heart rate gets above 110 beats per minute, we start to get wonky thinking. It is literally like taking, if this was an injection needle in the serum or whatever was in there, it was negativity. When my heart rate gets above 110, 120, okay, It's literally like injecting myself in negativity. The mind goes negative naturally. But if we can take that nice deep breath, best in the world, that happened, move on. My body has a chance to slow down because the state of my mind and the state of my body, they cannot be incongruent. I probably said that wrong. They are on the same page. So if the mind is, like she said, like Mackenzie said, confident, happy, relaxed, calm, guess what? That's what my body does. Mackenzie, one more thing. When you're relaxed, calm, when you're thinking you're the best in the world, that you can get the job done, that you're happy, calm, invincible, how do you tend to play?
I'm at my best. Like I'm usually not everything, right? Because like you said, you always fail a little bit, but
But here's what's interesting. Even when on those times when you're at your best, even when something doesn't go your way, do you fall apart? Or are you like, you know what? Who cares? I still feel good. Let's go.
yeah, just who cares?
Yeah. So wouldn't this be the nice vicious cycle that you had going on in your mind?
Yeah.
Okay. And hopefully, thank you. Hopefully, as adults, you grasp that too in your life, that your thought life determines how you feel emotionally because the mind gives meaning to emotions. The mind gives meaning to emotions. So your thoughts dictate how you feel. How you feel emotionally dictates how you feel physically. So if you're dealing with a lot of stress and pain, well, guess what? You're going to be having a lot of tension, right? So then instead of being like, okay, well, what's going on? I need to go back. Okay, well, what emotion is causing my body to feel this way? And then what thought is causing my emotions to feel that way? So it starts in the mind. That's what I just wrote a book. 90% of that book just deals with the believing pillar because if I can get my mind right, my thought life right, everything else tends to fall into place. When everything's falling into place, like Mackenzie said, you are at your best. And notice, I didn't say you're going to be successful. I didn't say that because I will never guarantee results. But what I can guarantee is that when you work this process, and this is all we focus on, these are our 4 pillars of the Inner Coach Club. This is all we work on to where we get to a mastery level that you can tell when something's not right. You say, okay, well, who's here? Is it someone that's here watching me play that's causing me this pressure, anxiety, or high expectations? Okay, what's at stake? Where is it? Or when is this in the season? So that sports context where we hit first is causing me to feel a certain way. But then what thought is causing my body to feel that, or my mind or my emotions to feel this way, that's causing my body to be whacked, that's not allowing me to be at my best? Okay, I promise you when I started this, I said, this is the context. We were 0 for 4 already, but I can still have that mindset here. 0 for 4 and still come to, but I'm still the best in the world. And when I have that thought, there goes the merry-go-round of the feelings, the physical state, and the performance. Sound good on that? So that is the how, my friends. That is the what and the how. Give me some feedback. What's sticking out to you from a parent or a athlete? All right, I'm not afraid of calling somebody. Hey, Joe Prieto, what stood out to you right there?
Just how like when you're confident, basically, how like your body responds to that when you're playing any type of sport compared to like when it's negative, how that could totally affect the outcome of what you want. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, Allie Black.
I was thinking how like I think a lot of us in like including me can kind of before we play, like before the game starts or practice starts, some of us start out like neutral and depending on how we play, like that's going to determine how like our thoughts are going to go the rest of the game or the rest of the practice. But instead of letting our performance like dictate how the game or like how we're gonna think and how we're gonna go like throughout the like game, like kind of deciding for yourself like before the game or practice starts, like I'm going into this already knowing that like no matter how it goes, no matter how the first few points go, that like I'm still like my confidence is still gonna be like at a 10, and like I'm still gonna feel like I'm on top of the world, even though it's gonna be hard. Like obviously if you hit the ball into the net a couple times or whatever, like strike out couple times in a row, like it's gonna be hard to believe that you're on top of the world, but like, or you're the best in the world, but like I guess that's kind of what's gonna set us apart, right?
Absolutely. And it's not just going to happen naturally, right? It's like
Yeah.
confidence is so fragile. Usually I have a mason jar that I like to drink out, but if I drop that mason jar, it's going to shatter, right? And that's where confidence can typically be. But if I had like a Yeti cup and I had that rubber stuff around it to protect and I dropped it, what happens? Bounces
Yeah.
back. So the whole point of this is to be able to rubberize your confidence to where no matter what's happening, you can bounce back. And Ali brought up this incredible point where guess what? The problem doesn't just start with believing and the thoughts. You can be doing great. You can feel great physically and emotionally, but then something goes wrong in the performance that then starts the merry-go-round of, okay, that introduced doubt, fear, worry. And if my mental security guard is not on guard, if it's on break somewhere, right? All of a sudden that doubt, worry, fear then creeps in based on the performance aspect, right? So problems don't just start in the believing, they can start in any one of those four, but if we don't catch it, it's going to become cancerous to us. So thank you, Ali, for bringing that up. I think I had Jaron. I think you had your hand up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, just realizing everything, like all the 4 steps, can one of them just can affect all 3 of them. And obviously the main point is believing, but I was just seeing that like breathing can affect body and battling, but if you can't control your breathing, then you can't control your body. But if you can't control your body, then you can't control your battling. I know it like sounds like common sense, but like that, like when you showed us, but I just thought me realizing it made me think it like it made me like accept and realize that it's there's a lot of steps to it. So
And as you work it, it becomes more simple. But you saw it on paper. Now that it's on paper, it's real. Because before it was just like, when I'm having a good day, I don't really know why. When I'm having a bad day, I really don't know why. Now we know why. Now you know why you're either playing well or you're not, right? Because it's one of those 4 places. And you get to choose which route you want to go. That's the best part. Like I said before, is it easy? No, it's simple to understand, but now it's not easy. So you have to go work this process. And that's what we do in the Inner Coach Club. This is the only 4 things that we work on all the time to where you have that mastery. Guess what? When you go play and you try to play the me versus you, well, you are the me, and then the other person is the you. They have to win the battle me versus me before they can go battle you. How many people in here give their opponent too much credit? That we think that they're perfect and that they're going to get the job done, and for some reason we're not. Well, let's stop giving the opponent so much credit and let's start giving ourselves due credit. Okay? I'm not going to ask for a show of hands, but I bet many of you do not give yourself credit when credit's due. I'm speaking to you too, parents. When's the last time you gave yourself credit when credit was due? You're so quick to beat yourself up, but you're really slow to build yourself up because we haven't built that in that capacity yet. Because our inner coach currently hasn't been going to the gym, so we need to get our inner coach to the gym and start working this mind stuff to where that's strong and our inner critic is weak. Because your inner critic, it's helpful in letting you know what the problems are, okay? But then it tries to beat you up. But let's start to build that inner coach, okay? I want to hear from a parent. Aaron, do you think you could share real quick what you took away from that last section as an adult?
Well, it's a perpetual cycle, and you got to stop the cycle, right? And it's all about self-talk and self-belief. I think when you, as a parent or in your own life or a child playing a sport, I think you need to trust that you've done everything you can to prepare yourself, and whether it be mentally or physically, for what you're about to do, go play, perform on game day. And there has to be a level of acceptance that you are, or an expectation that you will make mistakes. Mistakes are going to happen, right? And so if you know that you're going to make that mistake and you know it's going to happen, right? You expect it's going to happen. And the only thing that you're going to have, because I'm going to go back to the beginning of your session, is this is an opportunity for growth, right? Then that mistake doesn't seem so daunting or such a thing that you can't overcome.
Yes.
That's my biggest takeaway from it. But and it stops that perpetual cycle of the self-talk, the emotions, and that turn all the way over to battling. It's like a stopgap. It stops right away because, hey, I expected that.
Mhm.
You know what? We can't change it. It's out of our control. We always got the next play.
Yep.
So
Thank you. Appreciate that, Aaron. And one of the things he's talking about, I don't remember, I heard it phrased really well one time, but I think it's like future controllables. Like you've probably heard the term control the controllables. Well, there are future controllables, as in the future, you know that this is going to happen. So let's control it by having the game plan for when this happens, I will do this. And that's kind of what Aaron's talking about is if I know that I'm going to make a mistake or fall short in some way, rather than be like, I didn't know that was going to happen and freak out. It's like, hey, I knew this was going to happen. So I have a game plan now for when it happens so that I can rebound quickly. And I will promise you this. I will talk about a few more things and I'm going to let you go. I haven't seen personally, I have heard of people getting a scholarship off of a ground ball back to the pitcher, off of one ground ball back to the pitcher, because they ran out a hard 90 and that college coach came to see them and they happened to see them on a day that they went 0 for 4. But on their last at bat, he saw them run out a ground ball and give a hard 90. And that told that coach everything he needed to know about that athlete. That after failure, 3 failures on your 4th one, the most frustrating thing you can do besides a strikeout is just chop one back to the pitcher and watch him walk over there and underhand a ball while you're busting it down the line. And that coach said, you know what, I'm going to give you a scholarship because I can't teach you that. You have that already. I don't have to teach you that, I should say. Okay. And I know what you can do because I came here to watch you. You happen to not perform great. That's okay. But I watched you fail. And that's also what I want to see. College coaches want to see you fail because they want to see how you respond. Am I gonna try to recruit this immature player or am I getting a mature player? And I promise you, guys like Bryson were immature. He would admit it. He was immature when we met. But within months, and all up until he's at LMU right now, his coaches are just not the nicest people, but they came back and said, you know what? We thought you were going to quit. We thought that you were going to leave at the winter break, but you're back. And not only are you back, you're showing us that we were wrong, that we recruited the right guy, and in fall, you just didn't show up, but you came back. And that's the mental side, that it's just not going to show up naturally. It's not. You have to build it one day, one moment, one play at a time. Sound good on that? Okay. I'm gonna ask. Hey, Jeremy, we just met a couple of weeks ago, really, and your son. I've worked with him, but can you tell the crowd just outside of the baseball field, maybe a little on the baseball, but outside the baseball field, and what you're seeing in your son in working the mental game?